Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Dwayne. Welcome to Straight from the Go. Um, and we about to get straight to it, man. First, I just want to give y'all a little background information of why I call this show Straight from the Go. I just feel like there's not a lot of voices out of Chicago that talk about real stuff that we're gonna talk about on this platform. I feel like a lot of the big Chicago platforms, and there's no disrespect for them, no disrespect to them. I'm sorry. There's no disrespect to them. I just feel like a lot of the big bloggers or the big people that's in media, they really only talk about two things: either rap or gang shit. And most of the rap shit that they talk about coincides with the gang shit. And I feel like we more than just gang, gang, gang. We more than shoot. We more than that. We more than bodies dropping. We more than that. It's a deep history behind Chicago. We the third biggest city currently in the United States. At one point, we was the second biggest city, population wise. We was the second biggest. A lot of, especially black people, moved up here to Chicago, to have a better life than they did down south. Oftentimes you'll hear that Chicago is like Mississippi with tall buildings. It's sort of like that, but it ain't quite like that. But I get what people saying because a lot of the people that live in Chicago, our grandparents are from Mississippi. And specifically mine. My actual grandparents, they grew up in Chicago, but my greats and my great greats, they all grew up in Mississippi. I grew up in Arkansas. I know when my family first got to the United States, we started in North Carolina. So I understand what people saying, but it's a bigger history behind Chicago than just gang violence. But we gonna dive into all the real topics. We're gonna dive into that as well. We're gonna get into all that. It's gonna be fun, but I also want to be informative. I also want to be have real conversations, and obviously, hopefully, you know, once this platform can, get bigger and bigger and bigger, there could be more guests on here. It could be people that I actually talk to, interview, have conversations with, So, first we're gonna get into the music. First, I just want to shout out a few people first before I get into these bigger names. But I want y'all to go check out my homie Shaky Bucks, his mixtape. I want to say it's a mixtape EP. I want y'all to go check that out. It's called Him. It's pretty good if you into rap like that. I feel like I didn't know what to expect at first. You never know what to expect from your peers. But I ain't gonna lie, folks did not send me no bullshit. He It's pretty good. I think y'all should go check it out. It's something different. You gotta get different people in the algorithm because some of these artists, especially what you see going on with the Young Thug and YSL and all of that, it's time to get some new artists, some fresh names out there. Also, shout out my sister Joyanna. Go check out her single "I Found Love." My sister been singing for a long time since we was little. I watched her grow up, even though she only a couple years younger, but still, she watched her really grow up singing, and tearing the doors off the church. You know what I'm saying? She could really sing, and I really like this single "I Found Love." She was very vulnerable. She was just spilling out everything that she felt. Even when I listen to it, especially with my headphones, you could really feel every sound, every beat, every breath. You could feel it. Also, this ain't necessarily new, but Sko the Goat is SXODAGOAT. His Untitled Unmastered Volume 2 mixtape. I would love for y'all to go check that out. I feel like that was different. My homie, This my homie. He been rapping since we was shorties. Like I'm telling you, since we was in fourth grade. I remember him just being in the hallway, just freestyling. At first, he used to be on some real goofy. We thought it was some goofy shit. We like this nigga crazy, and he come in with all his little. He can't really sing, but he can fake sing at the same time, and he'll just be in the hallway just doing some of everything. But it's good to see it manifesting now. And I feel like if we support more of our own, especially if you're from Chicago, all these people that I just named, all of them from Chicago, the South Side to be exact, all of them are from Chicago. But it don't matter if you're from the West, East, or North or South Side. I want all of us to support, because I feel like Chicago got a problem with that. Supporting new people or supporting people, we got a problem with that. And I feel like, especially for the people who know these people, I feel like support them, help them, get to where they want to be at. That's what we should be doing. That's what I'm trying to do. That's really why I built. That's also another reason I built this platform to, really help put people out there. Just feel like it's hard for artists to really get out there. It's easy, but it's hard. Especially nowadays, it's easy, but it's really hard because everybody trying to make music. But I feel like these three that I just named, you could tell they really mastered, and I like the Untitled Unmastered Volume too. I love it. I listen to it all the time. I'm still listening to the whole album. It's still, and I'm still listening to the songs every day. And I be sending them to my homies, showing, bro, I really support you. So let's get into the bigger artists though. Cardi B dropped "In My Drama." I didn't listen to it yet. I did listen to obviously the stuff she been dropping, like Outside. She dropped another the Imaginary Players. And then I did listen to the Janet Jackson song. It started off a little shaky to me, but it was alright. I didn't listen to the whole album though, but I do think that it'd be a solid project. Hopefully it is. I actually like Cardi B, especially since like 2017 when she dropped Bodak Yellow. I really like Cardi B. She know how to put a song together for sure. Her and whoever produces and help her write. I'm a big Cardi B, so I'm expecting a lot, especially because I think this is like the first album since her first one, right? It should. I think it is. Um, but I didn't listen to the whole thing, but the songs I did listen to, they solid. Uh, so next we're gonna go to G Herbo, aka Lil Herb, aka Herb. We call him Herb, but Lil Herb in the city. G Herbo more his stage name. I done got so used to saying G Herbo now. G, it's crazy. But he dropped a single "Reason" Thursday. On yesterday, September 18th, and I really enjoyed it. Like first listen, he come out like I'm the reason. Hey, he spazzed on that. Shout out Herb, man. He really did his thing on that, on not even the album. I know he got an album Lil Herb coming out soon. Hopefully it do give me the Welcome to Phaso Land Pistol P project. Hopefully it do give me those vibes. Because that is Lil Herb. That's Lil Herb. Since probably Humble Beast. After Humble Beast, I would say it was more G Herbo when he dropped that Swervo project, which was decent. It was decent as hell. I ain't gonna lie. It was. I still listen to some of them songs, but Lil Herb, I hope he really getting in the Lil Herb bag. Like he hungry. He trying to get it out the gutter again. I hope I get that vibe. Polo G also dropped a single called "Shoot It Off." It was alright to me. I think Polo G could do way better though, and I feel like his like I want to say his first three albums were major successes, and then he kind of stopped dropping albums for like 3 years, and it's just like I get it. You wanted to kind of take a break from music, spend time with your family, because sometimes you gotta do that. I actually wish more artists did do that. I wish more artists take some time. I feel like in this age, since maybe like 2015, maybe 2016, I feel like artists have given too much music, like dropping every single year. I don't think you should do that. I don't think some artists really should do that. But I think they do that because it's like there is no losses in dropping an album on Apple Music or Spotify or when Tidal was a thing. It was no losses. Where back then, with CDs, it was some L's if you spend money on CDs and the project ain't do what you thought, so you getting L's. I don't know how it works with the distribution and stuff online, but I do think I do wish some artists really do take some time in between albums to put out quality stuff and not just give us anything. I think, and I think, I don't want to necessarily blame this person for this, but I do think Drake kind of, started that where, since like if you reading this, it's too late. The very next year you give us views, and then the next year he gave us More Life, and then the very next year he gave us Scorpion. I just think it's just too much music in between those. I just think it's way too much music. So I think that artists got to get back to taking breaks. But if you're going to take a break, you got to come back with your next album hitting. And I didn't feel like Polo G did that. As somebody who been listening to Polo G since about 2017, since before Finer Things, even though Finer Things, he poured his heart out. But I want Polo G to come a little bit harder than that. Pause. Cameron, old nigga, he dropped Season 7 freestyle. I've been listening to Cam since I was a kid. Like since Dipset. Like I've been listening to Cam for a long time. That man can still rap, man. He can still rap. And shout out to It Is What It Is. BG, if you are Hot Boys and all them with Wayne, Birdman, Juvie, you gon' really. I didn't listen to BG's project. I didn't listen to it yet, but I do think it might be decent. But I ain't really listened to it yet. That's really all that's really dropped. I feel like music has really been underwhelming in 2025. Been very, very, very underwhelming. Outside of Herb mixtape that he dropped, where he did the examples and all that, and Gunna. There's been a few people who dropped the clips. Jid, Offset. It's been a lot of people who dropped some solid stuff. But, in the mainstream, people who get all the attention, you really ain't seen. Oh, no, you know who did? Chance. I take that back. Chance dropped a very good album not a couple years, I'm tweaking, a couple weeks ago. That album was fire. I was listening to it. I'm like, damn. Folks snapping. He snapped, and I listened to the whole album all the way through. He can arguably have album of the year. If he do what he's supposed to, he could arguably have album of the year. I do think Clip's gonna get that though. I really do think Clip's gonna get that. They are. If you're a real hip hop fan, you're gonna like the Clip's album. But speaking of music, we're gonna stay with Cardi B. She is pregnant. I think everybody heard that. I think. Look. Everybody got something to say about her being pregnant, and I understand it is kind of fast, but it ain't nobody place to judge. I feel like too many people be judging on the internet, and your family, you got people in your family that do the same thing, but you ain't gonna go on the internet and talk. Now I understand your family ain't famous, but still, y'all get off her dick, man. I understand she pregnant. In my opinion, I think it's bad timing. But I ain't gonna kick her back in. Hey, just long as that album nice, and hopefully I get to see her in concert. I seen Cardi B when she dropped Bodak Yellow back in 2017. I was at Morgan State University my first year, homecoming concert, and she was the headliner. At first, we were supposed to have Meek Mill, but they replaced her quick with her. She came out and did a decent set. So I would love to see what she can do now as far as music. But with the pregnancy thing, I don't know if she gonna really be able to give a good show. I know people gonna be like, "Well, Beyonce did it." Everybody not Beyonce. Everybody not Beyonce. Beyonce is a different. That's why she's an icon. She's on a different level of artistry. She's on a different level of performing. So Beyonce, she up there with Michael Jackson. She up there with Prince. She up there with um, James Brown, Usher, Chris Brown, Bobby Brown. I know people don't like Bobby Brown. Yeah, Bobby Brown was that nigga back then. Y'all better do your homework on Bobby Brown. I'm talking about as far as performing, not artistry. That's why I didn't say Whitney Houston or Luther Vandross, because those are vocalists. I'm talking about vocals and performance. She up there with them. So, you know, but we're gonna move on from that. We're gonna get into some actually some more serious stuff. Since this is straight from the go, we're gonna talk about how Trump with the National Guard shit. At this point, I think it's all he fluffing. He bluffing, man. This shit all fluff. He ain't really sending no National Guard to Chicago. But even with that threat, I feel like you don't really care to fix the situation. America don't care to fix the situation. Y'all just think, oh, send more military, send more police, send more of this, send more of that. That ain't gonna do nothing. You just putting a band-aid over the situation. All you doing is trying to scare people, and basically it's a scare tactic. And I don't think Donald Trump really cares about Chicago. I think he's trying to show the world that he care. He don't really care about Chicago. He don't really care about ending gun violence anywhere. He did do it in D.C. Because I'm in school. Well, I was in school in the DMV, and I understand that it has gotten a little worse out here. Like, I ain't gonna lie. When I first got to the DMV always been kind of like, had they shit. Like, I ain't finna act like they soft out here. But it did get a lot worse. It's gotten worse since I came out here in 2017. Or when you know what I'm saying? It's been much worse since so I understand, but putting the band-aid over a situation like trying to send the National Guard to Chicago, man, stop it, dog. That ain't gonna do nothing. You gotta understand the things that's going on in this community is much deeper than just sending more police. All you gonna do is get them amped up, and you gotta realize a lot of these niggas don't care. They will do whatever they want to do in front of the National Guard. They do not give a fuck. And I think sending the National Guard to Chicago is dumb. But I mean, he a dumb president. I don't expect much from a person who really is a criminal himself. We got a felon in office, and he's allowed to be in office. I don't expect much. I don't expect much. So I don't even know why we even entertain the stuff. I mean, I'm not going to say that. I ain't going to say that, because a lot of the stuff that he said in that Project 25, some of that stuff he did mean. And that, that leads me to the next topic. Hannah Einbender saying fuck ICE and free Palestine on the Emmy stage. Now that was low key different to me. that was different. Like, to get up on that type of stage and say that was different, but I like it. Shit, I stand with her. If you don't know who Hannah Einbender is, I didn't really know much about her either, but she got a fan in me now. But if you watch the show Hicks, which is what she won an Emmy for, I forgot the exact award she won. I don't really watch that shit. I don't give a fuck about the Emmys. I don't give a fuck about the Grammys. I really don't give a fuck about any of them shit. The only show I really care about is the BET Awards, but we ain't gonna. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's talk about, the ICE and Palestine situation. First, the ICE situation, since that does deal with Trump, since he's the one who sent them out, I don't like it. And I'm tired of people acting like everybody who are illegal immigrants are criminals. Everybody that's illegal is not a criminal. Sometimes they just can't afford to get their stuff switched. They stuff switched over yet. But because a few people killed some people and they're illegal immigrants, every illegal immigrant is a criminal. But y'all don't say that about these white kids who shoot up churches, who shoot up schools, who do a lot of mass shootings. Y'all know what y'all do? Y'all call it mental illness. No, they can be mentally. I don't, but they can be mentally ill. But don't try to give them an out and basically say they only did that because they mentally ill. No, I've been around mentally ill people before. They ain't never said, you know what? Let me go shoot up a school. Get the fuck out of here. No. So the she got a lot of flack too, and I listened to Fox News kick her back in. Some of her peers kicked her back in, saying, "Oh, she shouldn't have said that." They said a lot of shit. I was listening to a lot of shit, but that's what happened when you not afraid. You are fearless. She was fearless. Like, you may not like, but that's fearless, and I stand with her with that. And she a white lady. Well, I heard she's Jewish, and Fox News tried to say that you're a Jew, you shouldn't be saying that shit on stage. The fuck, basically, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it's crazy that I already knew how a lot of these white people were gonna act. That's not all white people. I don't want people. This is not a show for hate. So I don't hate. I just want to put that out there. I don't hate white people. I don't hate Latinos. I don't hate Asians. I don't hate who you are. I don't hate none of you. But if you are racist, if you are somebody that spreads hate, and we gonna get to that in a little bit. If you're somebody who just talk down on certain people because you feel like you're better, if you are, of course, I don't like people who are child molesters or rapists. Period. I don't like if you. I don't like you, but I feel like the Hannah Einbender. I hope I'm saying her name right. Because she do got a bit of a last name I ain't never heard before, but she got a fan in me now, for sure. I don't know much about the show that she was in, but she definitely got a fan in me, and hopefully she don't get blackballed. Hopefully, they don't do her dirty, because you see, when people start speaking out, they start trying to do them dirty. And we just seen that this week. Which, speaking of, let's get to the situation that I couldn't wait to talk about. Charlie Kirk. First of all, I just want to say I don't wish death on nobody. We all gonna die one day. That's just the reality of things. We all are gonna die. So but I don't. Let's not say I don't wish death on nobody, because that's a promise that's already given in life. But I don't celebrate nobody's death. I don't celebrate them dying. If anything, what we usually do, we celebrate their life. Now, this guy, I'm not saying we need to celebrate his life either. Don't get me wrong. I do not think we got to celebrate his life because he said some pretty fucked up shit. And I'm sorry to all my to all the my elders listening, but he did say some fucked up shit about black people, about immigrants, about gun control, how, a few people dying. It's cool, basically. Long as we keep that Second Amendment. It's crazy how he died at the hands of a gun. We can't really know how he feel now because the shot was fatal. And I seen the video. That shit was crazy. The person that shot that man, that was some good fucking aim. Like, that was a good shot. The fact, I heard it ricocheted off his chest or something. But if he shot him on the neck dead on, that's a good shot. But we're not gonna celebrate that. We're not gonna celebrate that. It was nasty to watch. But to all the people saying he died over an opinion, no, he didn't die over an opinion. He died over basically stating his opinions as if they were facts, and then being nasty about his opinions too. And not only that, I feel like those are opinions you shouldn't have. Even down to the he said something like black people were better in slavery because there was less violence. No, it wasn't less violence. Because your people was still killing our people. You forget they were lynching my people from trees. You feel me? They were lynching my people from trees, and you talking about we were better. No. Maybe we weren't as violent back then, even though I feel like there's a lot of stuff they don't tell you about what went on back then. Like, they make it seem like every black person that was a slave was a punk. No, that ain't the case at all. I'm pretty sure there were plenty of times before the Underground Railroad where people were trying to escape. People were trying to escape the Underground Railroad. Not escape the Underground Railroad. I said that wrong. But they were trying to escape before that. That's probably why some people got killed. Some people got hung. Because they were trying to get away from that shit. But they got killed. And you got people, and it's crazy because we see the same thing now where, you got black people who tap dance for racist white people. Same thing I seen when Charlie Kirk passed away. You tap dancing for this man, making it seem like what he was saying was the truth. I don't think he really said any truth at all. If we being honest, I don't think he said any truth. He didn't say no truth, but I'm looking at people that I personally know saying stuff like, y'all mad cause he right, or y'all happy. Like get the fuck out of here, man. I can't even believe I seen some of these people say this because I was in the same spaces as y'all, and we learning about our history. When the school I went to, it's the elementary school, the grammar school that I went to, we call it grammar school in Chicago, and some other places in the South or the Midwest. The grammar school that I went to, we learned about a lot of stuff that I didn't think we would learn about, but we learned about a lot of stuff. And to see some of these people say that, and you come from where I come from, I can't fuck with you. I'm good. I'm good off you, basically. I'm good. Because you think that people should people gotta agree with Charlie Kirk, and we don't. Honestly, I don't agree with nothing he said because all he said was hateful things. But it is what it is. But let's get to the. I really want to talk about the aftermath and why I say I hope that Hannah Ironbender doesn't get blackballed because of what they just did to Jimmy Kimmel. And not only Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert. I do think Stephen Colbert was a different situation, but he still called out some people. Like Stephen Colbert, he just signed a 3-year extension in 2023. His contract went into 2026, and they canceled his show in the summer of 2025. And the crazy part, what? They still got to pay him. The dummies, you still got to pay him. So it was no point in firing him or canceling his show. You still got to pay him. But let's get to Jimmy Kimmel, though, because I don't like what just happened to Jimmy Kimmel, especially because I watched what he said, and I'm a fan of Jimmy Kimmel. Like, I don't get to watch Jimmy Kimmel every night, but there was some times where I see Jimmy Kimmel on, and I'll watch it. I watched Jimmy Kimmel. I was a fan, especially back in like the mid 2010s, in the early 2010s, where those talk shows was at its peak. I was really a fan of them shows, watching them late at night when ain't nothing else on. Especially after a game or something. And to see Jimmy Kimmel get suspended indefinitely for saying what he said, I wish I can show y'all. I wish, when I get better at this, I show y'all. But Jimmy Kimmel being suspended indefinitely for saying what he said about he didn't even really say nothing about Charlie Kirk, but everybody making it seem like he said something about Charlie. He didn't say nothing about Charlie Kirk. He said he more so joked about Trump than he did Charlie Kirk. He didn't even say it. He didn't say a bad thing. But ABC being some pussies, y'all fired him because y'all got pressed about at least what I'm hearing. Now, maybe those reports are wrong, but to hear that y'all fired him because y'all got pressed by the Trump administration, or you got pressed by Trump himself. Got no words. Y'all got no backbone. You got no backbone. This man is one of the highest rated shows on your network for years, and you just say fuck him. We gonna get rid of him. The fuck out of here. And this is what I mean by it's been a lot of sensitive shit going on since Charlie Kirk has passed away. I don't like it because y'all making it seem like this man is a martyr or he was this big world leader. No, that man was not a world leader. He was a podcaster just like me, saying off the wall things. Saying things that he shouldn't have really been saying at all. But we all getting canceled over. You got people getting canceled over opinions. I even seen Barack Obama tweet something and saying the very same. We can't, like, I've seen a lot of people come to Jimmy Kimmel's defense. Like, we getting canceled over freedom of speech now, even though he didn't even say nothing that bad. But Trump a bitch though. He mad because he joked on him and say he is he's grieving like a 4-year-old. Which he was, because what the fuck was that press conference? They asking you about Charlie Kirk and you talking about, well, you see the new hall we built in the White House? Who gives a fuck? This is what we're gonna have to deal with for the next 3.5 years. A crybaby old man. And I said earlier in the show, I don't wish death to nobody. But man, I wish she get out of office somehow because I, this is a dictatorship basically. It's free speech until somebody talk about you or disagree with you. You can't you can't what's the word? You can't suppress people's words because you don't like what they got to say. People don't like what y'all doing. Even the some of these NFL teams honoring Charlie Kirk. What is he like? To be honest, I heard about him before, but I didn't really pay much attention to him because I just thought he was another racist podcaster. So I never paid much attention to him. But I didn't know he meant that much to people to the point where we flying American flags in the air. He getting a military style funeral. Or I don't want to say was it a funeral, but I did see him getting carried in the casket that had the American flag on it. Why does he deserve that? And then to see people comparing him to Martin Luther King, we gonna stop there. We gonna stop there because how y'all comparing this man to Martin Luther King, a person who fought for equality? He didn't. Martin Luther King never spread hate. Martin Luther King is not a racist. Was not a racist. Neither was Malcolm X. Kind of. I ain't gonna say Malcolm X was a racist, but you gotta realize in the '60s and '50s what these black men are going through. We we gotta like. I was rewatching The Help the other day. These people thought that we were so nasty that they couldn't use the same bathroom as us, that they couldn't eat in the same restaurants, couldn't sit at the same table, couldn't go to the same schools. And I just seen the New York Fashion Week last week. Um, I forgot the guy's name so fast, but he was on the water fountain. That shit was not that long ago. He's still alive, and he wore the hoodie that had him on it. That said colors only. Or how about Ruby Bridges, who was there? We all, if you went to a black school or if you went to Oakdale, all my Oakdale people know. You know, we watch Ruby Bridges all the time, especially during Black History Month. She was the first girl or the first black kid, period, to get integrated into I don't want to say all white. It was an all white school though, to be integrated with white kids in school, and she's still alive, which shows that a lot of these racist things that's been going on in America has not necessarily left. But you got racist white people who will tell you, "Oh, get over it. That shit happened years ago." No, it didn't happen years ago. It's not just slavery. It's not just Jim Crow. Even though some of that shit wasn't that long ago. Y'all, a lot of people think that was a long time ago. No, slavery did not end in 1865. Like, yeah, a lot of slaves became free in 1865. No, slavery did not end in 1865 necessarily. There were still sharecroppers in the early 1900s. There were still sharecroppers in the 1930s and the 1940s. That was, even though, yeah, in essence, 80 years ago is a long time, but that's not a long time ago to necessarily wipe out all the racism because most of those people who were alive or who were born in the 1940s, guess what? They're still alive now. A lot of those people that was alive during the civil rights era are still alive now. Those people didn't die. What are we saying? Some of the people are literally alive right now. My grandparents was born during that era, the civil rights era, even though they were young. But imagine what they had to endure from other white people. I want to give too much of my business, but I'm gonna say this: my great grandmother Ruthie Mae Cross, rest in peace, rest her soul, man. I loved her so much. She had 12 kids by herself, and they all got stripped away from her from the state. They got stripped away from her. So that's my grandmother, my nana, and her 11 siblings. And then the boys was put in one home, the girls was put in another home. So you got to realize the trauma that has on the next generation, who are the grandparents now, who are still very much alive. My grandmother, yes, she grew up with her sisters, but they didn't get to grow up with my great uncles. Now we all are family. We together, we talk all the time. But imagine how that affected them back in the 60s and 70s, where they can't even see their own family. They didn't grow up with their own mother. And even though my grandmother appreciates the woman who raised her, because she talks about her all the time, those things still affected her, and they still affect us today. That shit didn't go away. The Rodney King situation, that happened 30 years ago. That wasn't that long ago. I was born in the 90s. So a lot of these things was not that as long ago as you think. Yeah, they can say that slavery ended 100 years ago and this ended that year, but racism didn't. The racism didn't go away. And I wish people quit acting like it did, acting like it went somewhere, because we get more opportunity now, or we got things that they didn't have back then. No, we don't got to shut up and just bow down. No, we should be able to fight for the betterness of this country. We should be able to fight for that. And the fact that, even some of my own people feel like we shouldn't be able to. Even sometimes, people who are from the continent of Africa who come over here and try to talk about black Americans, I don't like it. Because, yeah, you come over here and doing something that's totally different from the people who grew up in this system and doing. If you get pulled over right now as a person from the continent of Africa, they're going to think you a nigga just like they do me. So don't come over here thinking you better. We all need to come as one. Black Americans and people from the continent of Africa, we all need to come together. And we all need to come together, period. Latinos, Asians, because Asians sometimes, like some Asians sometimes think they could be better. And no, y'all, especially in the early 1900s, what I read, how some of the racist white people treated y'all, yeah, you shouldn't just be bowing down. This ain't all white people. We talking about those racist ones, which I think a majority of them still are. I'm not gonna lie. I think a majority of white people are still racist, and we need to somehow get better as a country still. I was just watching, and we're going to end in a little bit, but I was just watching Bernice King. She posted a 2.5 minute speech of her father, like a snippet of his speech. And even in the 1960s, he was saying how, he still can't believe how racist things are. And I'm going to end this topic by saying I can't believe how racist things still are in 2025. I still can't believe it. The fact that they thought the Charlie Kirk shooter was somebody other than a white man. And I'm hearing that he is a Republican. Now they trying to put out reports and say, no, he's not a Republican. He a Democrat. He's a hidden Democrat. Whoa, whatever. That's, I think it's bullshit. I'm gonna go ahead and believe that he was a Republican. and that he indeed supported Trump, but he just didn't like that guy. And then the mayor of Utah basically saying, I just wish it wasn't one of us. Kind of in code saying, I wish it was an illegal immigrant who did it, so we can blame it on them. Or I wish it was somebody other than the person who did it. And so I just think, I hope y'all take away from this first episode that, straight from the go will be about trying to help not only my black people become better, but trying to help the country overall become better. Michael Jackson said, you gotta basically, I done messed that up. You got to start with yourself, though, and we got to start with us. I was about to recite a lyric, and I was about to be so wrong. I was about to say, I was thinking of the wrong stuff. But you gotta look yourself in the mirror. And he said, if you want to make the world a better place, you gotta look at yourself and make a change. I figured it out now. But yeah. So to end this episode though, we got sports. Football season, week 3. Go Bears. First of all, Chicago Bears, y'all stunk last week against the Lions. That was horrible. But yeah. So thank you guys for joining me for my first episode ever. This is the first episode, so things may have been a little shaky today. You may have called me had brain farts at certain points. But let's help this platform grow. Let's help it grow. Let's help it, become one of the bigger platforms, not just in America, but in the world. So come on, let's do this. I love y'all. Whoever watched this, it don't matter if it's 2 people, 22, 102, 1,002, 1,000,002. Let's continue making the world better. Help me help you. Like I said earlier in the episode, I am still welcoming having guests on, and so it's things I want to do that's bigger than me. I don't care to be the richest person in the world. I care about just being able to take care of my family, being able to help my community, and being able to help make the next generation better. Not just in Chicago either. I know this is a Chicago-based platform, but we want to make black kids better in every city, in every state, in every country. But it starts right here. So thank you guys. I love y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day.